Okay, so I made it here. This place does not have a name. I asked a couple of people, and of course, there are no tourists here. They're not even locals here. And this is a sheer wall rock cliff. Uh, at this angle, I don't think you can understand how sheer it is. This is what happens when an unstoppable force hits an unmovable object. In this case, the unstoppable force just changes direction. So this is the river which is coming. This is the Chandrabhaga river, and it comes, it hits the mountain, and it takes a 90-degree turn. I found this place the last time I was making a video. I think I was there somewhere. Then after I made the video, I kept on walking on that road, and then I saw this place, and I was like, why is nobody going there? Then I asked a couple of people. It doesn't even have a name, and I made it here. It isn't really apparent that you can make it here from when you see it from there. I thought I could, but I wasn't sure. These are not very high cliffs, but these are, I don't know, 30 meters or something like that, these short ones. And from afar they looked like very gently sloping down, and you could be thinking, well, I'll just have a walk. Well, I tried 3 crevices. Third time was a charm. Third one, I think that is maybe the only way you can come in here. Actually, it's good that I'm here before the river has really started flowing, because this will all be water. I'm on a nice beach here. The only footsteps here are mine and of some dogs. And I have no idea how much of the view is being captured in the camera. I mean, it is okay, maybe it's not even just the view, maybe it's the thrill of reaching this place. It's not like Mount Everest or anything. uh, I think I'll be able to make it up quite easily. That upstairs, like okay, not upstairs, yeah, above the cliffs, it's not really isolated. So there's a village there. It's a very nice-ish village. I mean, it's a pretty big village. You can't imagine how many people live there from the outside, because in terms of size, it looks like very concentrated. But inside there are lots of houses, lots of villages, because this entire plateau sort of a thing is cultivated. There's a farm even there, and I think I have a picture, and there are people working up there. So it's not really isolated, but these are not very simple cliffs either. I had to struggle to find a way. I did find a way, and that there's a village there, but I can't, of course, cross the river. And yeah, so yeah, I was saying that the crevice that I came from, the nala, I could make it down right now, because the snow has not melted. When the snow melts, that way will be full of water. So novice pokey tourists like me will not be able to get here. There are many waterfalls here. I mean, as many as you wish, but at least there's one there. The second one, I'll put up a picture, and then there's a third one which we can't see from this angle. It was here somewhere. Yeah, so this is not the entire mountain, by the way. You'll probably see it in the other clips, that there's a ice mountain on top of it, or well, the same rock gets covered with ice. From what I recall, there's a way right along the river edge valley back to Tandi. There's a small stretch with rocks which look like this from afar, and it doesn't really look, at least from afar, that I would be able to go right along the banks. It's risky in the hills, to be near the river banks because there are lots of dams, and you would not I mean, there is no warning you would get when they would open the bridge. They try to be as gentle as possible, I presume. They also blow those warning sirens near the dams, but that is near the dams. You won't not hear it here. So if there's a dam upstream and they open it up, the water will suddenly rise, and that's very dangerous. To give you a sense of bearing, back there was the temple. I came through the village. This road via the connecting bridge will go ultimately to that. That's the Tandi bridge. I'll have a cup of tea there. And then I'll go on the other bank to those red pump houses. They have a very interesting story, and these guys are taking water up there. Alright, so I'm up here. My phone died yesterday when I was down. So, well, maybe all for the better, because I thought maybe I'll come up today and try to find a destination of those pumps. I still haven't given you the backstory, but let me first try to find the chashma that I'm looking for. I'll explain in a minute what that is. I don't know if it's a good idea to record here because it's very windy here. It's a nice place. So this is this is one of the tops of the mountain that I am living on. There's an abandoned house there. That's the valley you might recognize by now. That's where we come from, Manali. This is where we'll go to Leh. You can actually see Keelong from here. Yeah, that's Keelong. That's basically the last city before Ladakh. And it's not huge. Don't have very high expectations, but it's fairly big. It's more of an administrative center for the entire region. Yeah, and that is the plains where I was, pseudo plains where I was yesterday. That green house right there is where I was showing you the pumps, and then I went down to the riverbed to the pumps when the phone died. Behind me is the mountain is covered in snow. It's very misleading because until I got to, let's say, that tree up there, I thought this was the top, and then you come here and you realize, no dude, there's more up there, and I can bet you that even that is not the top. There's more. So this is like, so you can contrast this mountain that I am standing on with the one, let's say, in front, or this one. Maybe that's a better example. That one has well-defined peaks, especially that one. It's actually very beautiful. I should figure out its name. So yeah, so it has very well-defined peaks. This one is not shorter, but it is very gradually sloping up, so you can't actually see the peak when you are below. If you look at a side view from the river, you can figure out that there are multiple tops. Beyond this is the snow. I'm not risking going there. I mean, this is fairly melted snow, but it's not really risky to go there. But this place is a bit dizzying. It's safe. I mean, when I was there yesterday, someone, I don't know if they were pulling my leg or something, they told me there are bears in that is, if you see, that's a temple, and I was going inside that crevice, so they were saying there are bears there. I got scared enough. Better to have someone pull my leg than a bear pull my leg. So I would not maybe go there again. But on this mountain, they tell me there is no wildlife. There are lots of crows, which it's better to be on the good side of, because they get quite angry if you piss them off. But Other than that, there is wildlife here. So there are ibexes. So ibexes are those mountain goats. Uh, they are very well camouflaged. So there is a that road took along that. So if you can see, there is a road coming. Then there is a Tandi bridge. It will come to this mountain, and then it will continue right along this. And there's a very steep rock face there towards Kelong. So I saw an ibex. It was I mean, firstly you could not see it, and then if when you saw it, it is very amazing. They just like climb up pretty steep rock faces. So yeah, that's the wildlife here, and I've been told that they are as scared of humans as this particular human is scared of wildlife. So I should be safe enough. So there's and the well, actually the climb is pretty steep. But it's not risky because especially because of the recent snow, ground is a bit moist, so you get very good grip. So there isn't really a problem here. I think I have come too far up ahead. I need to go down a bit somewhere there and find it. Okay, so this is the chashma. uh, so the chashma refers to the water source around which the entire village is formed. I mean, there are multiple reasons for why villages are where they are, but the number one reason is the presence of water. So they would invariably be formed around what the locals here call a chashma. That is where the underground water would just appear at the surface. I mean, it would be somewhere high in the mountain, but not at the top. So this would not directly be the snow water melting. It would be sort of a snow water melting, then seeping into the ground, and then at a slightly lower height reappearing as a source of fresh water. That way, firstly, the ice will melt away in the summers. So what do you do then for water? That is actually when you need the most water, both for drinking and for irrigation. And the other reason is the water which is coming through the ground is filtered and it is less contaminated, and so it's fit for drinking, and it doesn't also freeze. So I mean, it just keeps flowing. That's why it doesn't freeze. I mean, this is the reason why you would see in villages in the mountains, they would keep some of the taps running which are outside the house, and so they're not wasting water. They have to keep it running because otherwise the thing will freeze. So that is basically the pipe coming from a source like this. And so this is no longer the place where the water is appearing. I guess historically this was the place where water used to appear from the ground. Now that has receded, and it has receded quite far. So there's a pipeline coming, this one, this black pipe. So now this goes underground, and there'll be a channel. You can't really see it here, but this will go all the way to the top. Now I tried to trace it to the point where this gets filled. There was snow, and I was not really up for going further. I presume there's not a single source. There are multiple small sources which are like joined together and come through this pipe. There are also generations of pipes, and this is not the only pipe. I mean, this is the currently functional one. This is the biggest one, but you can see remnants of old pipes, and there are also open nalas where basically you would try to channel the water source. But now, so this is now in some sense the primary source of water for these collection of villages. So this is where our story with the pump starts. You would not be surprised to hear that just like that glacier up front, the water sources have receded, and the amount of water that they can get from the chashma has slowly dwindled over the years. and so much so that it is not really a sustainable thing for the village anymore. And this has been a problem for many years. So I mean, there's enough for drinking and stuff, but not for irrigating all those farms. And then there are lots of farms. Uh, so I mean, someone was telling me that there are villages in Spiti which are of smaller sizes, like 3 house, 5 house villages, which have just been abandoned in very recent years because the chashmas have dried up, and I mean, there's no water. If there's no water, then you can't really do anything. So yeah, so these people are also, while this is not dead yet, but it is, the quantity is at a point where this was not enough for irrigation. So what uh, of course the government knows about this. So now here this gets, I mean, sad or interesting depending on how you view it. uh, I've been told that in Himachal Pradesh the government oscillates between Congress and BJP, and I don't know who the current incumbent is, but apparently they people just vote out incumbent, and next time the other guy comes in, and this keeps on repeating. So the last to last government started a project to basically somehow try and tap the uh, ice which is up there better, and sort of channel it better, and split it off into villages with pipe from the top. And that was happening. Then elections happened, and then the government changed. So the new government stopped worked on the old government's projects. uh, Now these guys in the village, I mean, they tried, but nothing was happening. So finally what they did was, last year 31 households of which are in the which form which are part of the villages in this mountain, they got together. They put up a 78 kilowatt pump house at the bottom of the river to try and get that water from the bottom of the river up to the top. And they got a transformer for it. They set up 2 pump houses, and I mean, these people are not poor by any means. They own a lot of farm land, and they get decent amount of money from the stuff they cultivate. So they collected money. They paid laborers. They got 1600 meters. Well, they got 1800 meters of metal pipe, of which they used 1600 meters. And from the bottom of the river, they got the water pumped right at the top, and there it ends. So this was their, and this is their basically alternate source of water. This is coming from the river below. Right now I think there's no water here. Now this is not a hacky village job. This is they set up pump houses, they set up pipelines. This is going all the way down the hill. So this sort of made quite a furor in the entire region. So other villages, they started coming to them for consultation, and the government got a shock, and this is like, dude, what is happening? These people are doing what we are supposed to be doing for them on their own. So they didn't even contact the government. So the government immediately set up right where the pump houses are, I'll put up a picture. They set up a new project. I think they sanctioned 3 crores or something for it, to create a bigger proper pump station which will pump water from the river up to all the villages in this mountain. And that work started, and there were elections I think last year, and the government changed again. So the new government basically shelved their old project, and so there is nothing happening there. But okay, on the bright side, they resumed work on the original project of getting the ice water in a different manner. So, well, I guess eventually what will happen is both parties will get enough time at power to to finish both their projects, and so the village will have two different sources of water by the time the chashma completely runs out. Well, at least that would be a fairy tale ending. Right now the villages are in a bit of a bind, so well, they did all of this in lots of energy and enthusiasm. They sort of got up, they figured, I don't know the exact cause, but it was multiple lakhs for setting all these things up and the transformers and everything. And they did it, that's fine. They knew the upfront cost. What they didn't figure out was the electricity cost for pumping that much water all the time. So that is apparently going into multiple lakhs per month. So now then these guys sort of freaked out. So what they did was, so then they tried to get to the government, like, this is agriculture water, and which it truly is. This is, I mean, the drinking supply can be sort of covered by the existing chashma which is here. This is mostly for irrigation. So they were not lying. So now apparently in the rules it says that the government will subsidize the electricity for pump houses which are up to 20 kilowatt. Again, I am hope I am using the right units. So 20 kilowatts, and so these guys had set up a bigger thing, because this is 78. They are getting it up the entire mountain, so that doesn't come under 20 kilowatt. Now if they had known about this, what they could have theoretically done is set up multiple pump stations, each consuming 20, and then got all of it subsidized. But that they didn't sort of look that far ahead. So now they have to pay the cost. They are now trying to run after the government. In principle, they apparently went to Shimla and spoke to the deputy CM. And it is nice to hear that in principle he has agreed that the government will subsidize this cost. The paperwork still needs to be done. I mean, it's nice to hear, because the government being flexible is nice. So this is the story of the pump house I was running after yesterday. Okay, now I'm back. I'll be back to the house. I think there should be a way along the where this channel is sneaking through. So yeah, I'll make my way downstairs to the house. I watched the Formula 1 qualifying yesterday, and today the sprint race awaits under the bright sun. Ciao.